I never thought much about physical touch until the morning Kieran fixed my collar. I was standing in the hallway outside the conference room, my heart hammering against my ribs, palms sweating, mentally rehearsing my pitch for what felt like the 100th time. This was it. The big presentation. 6 months of work, condensed into 15 slides, and a prayer that I wouldn't completely bomb in front of the executive team. I'd barely slept. My coffee had gone cold an hour ago. And apparently, in my frantic morning routine, I'd completely mangled my shirt collar, leaving it folded weird under my blazer, like some kind of fabric origami disaster. I didn't even notice him approach. Kieran just appeared beside me, the way he always did, moving through the office with this quiet confidence that I'd always found both intimidating and oddly comforting. We'd been working together for almost 8 months now, ever since he transferred from the Seattle office. He was the senior analyst on our team, 3 years older than me, with this calm competence that made everyone around him feel like things would somehow work out. Dark hair that was always slightly too long, grey eyes that noticed everything, and this way of listening that made you feel like whatever you were saying actually mattered. "Hey," he said softly, and I jumped about a foot in the air. "Jesus, Kieran, you trying to give me a heart attack before I even get in there?" He smiled, just a small curve of his mouth. "Sorry. Didn't mean to startle you. I just—" He paused, his eyes moving to my collar. "Your collar's messed up. Here, let me." Before I could respond, before I could even process what was happening, his hands were at my neck, not touching my skin, but adjusting the fabric, his fingers working with this gentle precision to smooth out the fold, to straighten the line against my blazer. I froze. Completely froze. My breath caught somewhere in my throat, and I couldn't remember how to make my lungs work properly. His hands were warm. I could feel the heat of them even through the fabric. He was standing close, closer than co-workers normally stand. Close enough that I could smell his cologne, something subtle and woodsy that I'd noticed before but never let myself think about too much. His eyes were focused on what he was doing, this little crease of concentration between his eyebrows, and I just stood there like an idiot, staring at him, feeling my face heat up, feeling something shift in my chest that I absolutely did not have time to examine right now. "There," he said, his fingers smoothing the collar one last time. But he didn't step back. His hands moved to my shoulders, resting there, solid and grounding, and he met my eyes. "You're going to be great in there, Dylan. You know this project better than anyone. Just breathe and trust yourself." I should have stepped back. I should have thanked him and pulled away and created some normal professional distance. But I didn't. I let his hands stay on my shoulders. I let myself feel the weight of them, the warmth, the strange comfort of his touch. For just a few seconds that stretched out longer than they should have, we stood there in the hallway. And something passed between us that I didn't have words for. "Thanks," I managed finally, my voice coming out rougher than I intended. He squeezed my shoulders once, gentle, then let his hands fall away. "You've got this." Then he was gone, heading back toward his desk, and I was left standing there, trying to remember how to breathe normally, trying to ignore the fact that I could still feel the ghost of his hands on my shoulders, trying not to think about why such a simple gesture had completely undone me. The presentation went well. Better than well, actually. I nailed it. The executives loved the data, loved the projections, asked smart questions that I actually had answers for. I should have been riding high on adrenaline and relief. Instead, all I could think about was Kieran's hands on my collar, the way he'd looked at me, the way my heart had stuttered in my chest. I'd been attracted to guys before. I knew that about myself, had known it since college, though I'd never been particularly public about it. It wasn't a secret, exactly, just something I didn't broadcast. I'd dated a few guys. Nothing serious. Nothing that lasted more than a couple months. But this felt different. This wasn't just attraction. This was something that had been building for months without me fully realizing it, hiding in every coffee he brought me when I was drowning in work, every late night we spent in the office together debugging code, every time he remembered how I took my lunch order or texted me a meme that was so perfectly tailored to my sense of humor that it made me laugh out loud in meetings. I'd been falling for Kieran, and I hadn't even noticed until he touched me. That realization terrified me. We worked together. We were on the same team. He was senior to me, and I had absolutely no idea if he was even into guys, let alone into me. For all I knew, he was just being nice, being a good colleague, and I was reading way too much into a simple gesture of support before a big presentation. I tried to push it down, to focus on work, to act normal, but over the next few weeks, I found myself hyper-aware of every interaction. The way he smiled when I walked into the morning stand-up, the way his hand brushed mine when we both reached for the same report, the way he always seemed to know when I needed a break, appearing at my desk with coffee or suggesting we grab lunch, the way he listened when I talked, really listened, his full attention on me like I was the only person in the room. Was I imagining it? Or did he find excuses to be near me? Was it normal for co-workers to text each other random thoughts at 11 at night? Was it just friendship? Or was there something else humming beneath the surface of our interactions? Something neither of us was brave enough to name. 3 weeks after the presentation, we ended up working late together again. The office was mostly empty, just the hum of the air conditioning and the glow of our monitors in the dim light. We were trying to fix a critical bug before the morning deadline, hunched over my computer, shoulders nearly touching as we stared at lines of code. "There," Kieran said, pointing at the screen. "That's your problem. You're calling the function before the variable is initialized." Oh my God, I'm an idiot. I dropped my head into my hands. I've been staring at this for 3 hours. "You're not an idiot. You're exhausted." His voice was soft, concern. "When's the last time you ate something?" I tried to remember. "Lunch? Maybe." "Dylan." He said my name like a gentle reprimand. "Come on, let's get food. The bug will still be here in an hour." We ended up at a small Thai place, 2 blocks from the office, sliding into a booth in the back. It was late enough that the dinner rush had cleared out, leaving the restaurant quiet and intimate. We ordered too much food, the way we always did, planning to share everything. "So," Kieran said after the server brought our drinks, "how are you really doing? You've seemed kind of distant lately." My heart kicked up. Had I been that obvious? "I'm fine. Just busy. Dylan." He gave me that look, the one that said he could see right through me. "Come on, it's me." It's me. Like we were more than just co-workers. Like we were friends, real friends, the kind who told each other things that mattered. And maybe we were. Maybe that's what had been growing between us all these months. Or maybe it was something more. And I was too scared to find out. "I've just had a lot on my mind," I said carefully. "Anything you want to talk about?" "Everything," I thought. "I want to talk about how I can't stop thinking about your hands on my shoulders. How I replay that moment in the hallway over and over. How I've started noticing the way you laugh, the way you push your hair back when you're concentrating, the way your whole face changes when you smile. How I'm pretty sure I'm falling for you, and I have no idea what to do about it." "Not really," I said instead. He studied me for a long moment. Something unreadable in his expression. Then he nodded slowly. "Okay, but if you ever do, I'm here. You know that, right?" "Yeah," I said quietly. I know. The food arrived and we fell into easier conversation, talking about work and weekend plans, and a documentary Kieran had watched about deep sea creatures. He got animated when he talked about things he was passionate about, his hands moving as he described the bizarre fish that lived in the ocean's darkest depths. I loved watching him like this, unguarded and enthusiastic. It made me want to know everything about him, all the things he cared about, all the thoughts he had late at night, all the parts of himself he kept hidden during office hours. We stayed until the restaurant was getting ready to close, until the server started giving us pointed looks. Outside, the night air was cool, the street mostly empty. Kieran walked me to my car, even though his was parked in the opposite direction. Thanks for dinner, I said, unlocking my door. And for the debugging help. I would have been there all night. Any time. He shoved his hands in his pockets, looking at me with that same unreadable expression from the restaurant. Dylan, can I ask you something? My heart started racing. Sure. He hesitated, and I watched him gather his courage, saw the moment he decided to speak. That day, before your presentation, when I fixed your collar, did I cross a line? You've seemed different since then. And if I made you uncomfortable, I'm really sorry. I just wanted to help. And I wasn't thinking about... No, I interrupted, the word coming out too fast, too urgent. No, you didn't cross a line. You didn't make me uncomfortable. It was really nice, actually. Oh. He looked surprised, relieved. Okay, good. I wasn't sure and I didn't want... Kieran. I took a breath, feeling like I was standing on the edge of something, about to jump. Why did you walk me to my car? Your car is on the other side of the building. He went still. In the streetlight, I could see the exact moment he understood what I was really asking. I wanted to make sure you got here safely. Is that the only reason? The silence stretched between us, heavy with everything we weren't saying. A car passed on the street behind us. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Kieran took a step closer, and then another, until he was standing right in front of me, close enough that I had to tilt my head back slightly to meet his eyes. No, he said quietly. That's not the only reason. I wanted more time with you. I always want more time with you. Oh. The world tilted slightly, rearranging itself around this new information. How long? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. How long have I wanted more time with you? A small, almost sad smile crossed his face. Since about 2 weeks after I transferred here. You were explaining some complicated database architecture to me, and you got so excited about the elegant solution you designed, and I thought you were the most interesting person I'd ever met. And then, I kept finding more reasons to think that, over and over, until I couldn't pretend it was just professional admiration anymore. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only stare at him and try to process the fact that he'd been feeling this too, that I hadn't been imagining the tension between us, that all those small moments had meant something to him, the way they meant something to me. I thought I was going crazy, I admitted. After you fixed my collar, I couldn't stop thinking about it, about you, about the way your hands felt on my shoulders. I kept telling myself I was reading too much into it, that you were just being nice, that I was risking our working relationship over nothing. It's not nothing, Kieran said, and his hand came up to cup my jaw, his thumb brushing my cheekbone. Dylan, this is not nothing. No, I agreed, leaning into his touch without thinking about it. It's not. Can I kiss you? His voice was rough, nervous, hopeful, I've wanted to for so long, but if you're not... I didn't let him finish. I closed the distance between us and kissed him, there in the parking lot under the streetlight, with my car door open behind me and my heart hammering in my chest. His lips were soft, tentative at first, questioning. Then I felt him relax into it, his hand sliding into my hair, his other arm wrapping around my waist to pull me closer. I made a small sound in the back of my throat and kissed him harder, months of wanting pouring into this moment, into the taste of him, into the feeling of finally getting to touch him, the way I'd been dreaming about. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Kieran rested his forehead against mine, his eyes closed, a smile playing at his lips. I've been wanting to do that for months, he murmured. Me too. I kissed him again, softer this time, savoring it. Though I only consciously admitted it to myself about 3 weeks ago. He laughed, the sound warm and delighted. When I fixed your collar, yeah, you completely destroyed my concentration for that entire presentation. You did great, though. I have no idea how. All I could think about was your hands on my shoulders and how badly I wanted them to stay there. I pulled back enough to look at him properly. Is this insane? We work together. You're senior to me. What if it gets complicated? It might, Kieran said honestly. But Dylan, I like you too much not to try. We can be careful at work. We can keep it professional there. But outside the office... He kissed me again, slow and sweet. Outside the office, I want to take you to dinner. Real dinner, like a date. I want to know everything about you. I want to fall asleep, talking to you and wake up and keep talking. I want to see where this goes. Yeah. My voice came out softer than I intended, vulnerable in a way that usually scared me. But with Kieran, it felt safe. You want all that. I want all that. If you do. I thought about it for maybe half a second. Thought about the risk, the potential complications, the way this could change everything between us. Then I thought about the way he looked at me, the way his hands felt in my hair, the way my chest expanded with something bright and terrifying and wonderful when he smiled. I do, I said. I really do. We stood there in the parking lot for a while longer, kissing and talking in low voices, making plans for a proper date that weekend, reluctant to separate. Eventually, the practical reality of work the next morning forced us apart, but before I got in my car, Kieran pulled me close one more time, his hands on my shoulders in an echo of that moment in the hallway that had started all of this. Hey, he said softly, his grey eyes searching mine. You're going to be great tomorrow. Just breathe and trust yourself. I laughed, recognizing the words. Is that going to be your thing now? Motivational speeches before work? Only if you want it to be. His smile was tender, intimate in a way that made my heart skip. I've got a lot of things I want to be for you, Dylan. If you'll let me. Yeah, I said, kissing him one more time because I could. Because he wanted me to. Because this brilliant, patient, wonderful man somehow wanted me back. Yeah, I'll let you. I drove home in a daze, my lips still tingling, my mind replaying every moment. When I got to my apartment, I found a text waiting from him. Just 3 words. But they made me smile so wide my cheeks hurt. Sweet dreams, Dylan. I texted back immediately. They will be now. That weekend, we went on our first official date. Kieran picked me up at 7, looking nervous and adorable in dark jeans and a button-down that brought out his eyes. We went to a small Italian restaurant he'd been wanting to try, tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. Over pasta and wine, we talked for hours, the conversation flowing as easily as it always had, but with a new layer of intimacy, of possibility. He told me about growing up in Portland, about his complicated relationship with his dad, about the year he spent teaching English in South Korea after college. I told him about my family, about coming out to my parents in college, about my dream of eventually starting my own company. We talked about books and movies and music, discovering overlaps and differences, learning each other. After dinner, we walked through the neighborhood, our hands linked between us. It felt monumental, that simple gesture, holding hands in public, being openly affectionate, claiming this thing between us as real. Kieran's thumb traced patterns on the back of my hand, and I felt absurdly happy, like a teenager with his first crush. "Can I tell you something?" Kieran said as we walked. "Anything." "That day I fixed your collar. I'd been looking for an excuse to touch you for weeks. When I saw it was messed up, I didn't think. I just wanted to be close to you. And then when I put my hands on your shoulders and you looked at me like that, I thought maybe I'd finally given myself away. I was so sure you knew. I was completely oblivious," I admitted. "I was too busy trying not to pass out from how good your hands felt." He laughed and pulled me closer, pressing a kiss to my temple. "We're both idiots." "Yeah, but we're idiots together now. Best kind of idiots." We ended up back at my apartment, ostensibly for coffee, but really just because neither of us wanted the night to end. We settled on my couch, and within minutes we were kissing again, the slow burn of earlier igniting into something hotter, more urgent. Kieran's hands slid under my shirt, and I gasped against his mouth, arching into his touch. "Is this okay?" he murmured against my lips. "More than okay," I managed, pulling him closer. "Don't stop." We made out like teenagers, learning the taste and feel of each other, hands exploring, breath coming faster. Eventually, we slowed down, both of us flushed and disheveled, grinning at each other like idiots. "We should probably slow down," Kieran said, though he didn't move away. "I don't want to rush this." "Me neither." I kissed him again, soft and lingering. "But I really like kissing you. I really like kissing you too." He settled back against the couch, pulling me against his side. I rested my head on his shoulder, his arm around me, feeling more content than I had in years. We stayed like that for a long time, talking quietly, stealing kisses, learning how to be together in this new way. At some point I must have dozed off, because I woke up to Kieran gently shaking my shoulder. "Hey," he said softly. "It's late. I should probably head home." I didn't want him to go, but I nodded, walking him to the door. He kissed me goodnight, sweet and thorough, his hands cradling my face like I was something precious. "See you Monday," he said. "See you Monday." Monday at work was strange and wonderful. We kept it professional, just like we'd promised. But there were small moments that made my heart race. The way Kieran smiled at me across the conference room. The way his hand brushed mine when he handed me a file. The text he sent during lunch. Just a simple, "thinking about you," that made me grin at my phone like an idiot. After work, we went back to his place. He cooked dinner while I sat at his kitchen counter, watching him move around the space, feeling domestic and right. We ate on his couch, watching a movie neither of us really paid attention to, too distracted by each other. "I'm really happy," I said at one point, the words slipping out without permission. Kieran turned to look at me, his expression soft. "Yeah? Yeah. This. Us. It feels right. It feels like something I didn't know I was looking for until I found it." He kissed me, slow and deep. "I know exactly what you mean." That became our routine. Professional at work, intimate everywhere else. We were careful, discreet, not hiding exactly but not broadcasting either. Our co-workers probably suspected something, but no one said anything. We were good at our jobs. Our relationship didn't interfere with our work. And honestly, I think we were both happier, more relaxed, more creative. 2 months in, Kieran met my parents. I was nervous, but he charmed them within minutes, asking my mum about her garden and bonding with my dad over their shared love of terrible action movies. Watching him fit so easily into my life, seeing my parents' approval and warmth, made everything feel more real, more permanent. 3 months in, I met his family. That was harder. His dad was distant, clearly uncomfortable with the whole situation, though he was polite enough. But Kieran's sister was wonderful, pulling me aside at one point to tell me she'd never seen her brother so happy. "He talks about you constantly," she said, grinning. "It's actually kind of annoying how in love he is." In love. The words echoed in my head for days. We hadn't said that yet, though I felt it. Had felt it for weeks now. The way my heart expanded when I saw him. The way I wanted to tell him everything. Share everything. Build a life with him. The way I couldn't imagine my future without him in it. I told him on a random Tuesday night, lying in his bed, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my back. It just slipped out, natural as breathing. "I love you." His hand stilled. Then he rolled me over so he could see my face, his eyes searching mine. "Say that again." "I love you, Kieran. I'm in love with you." His smile was brilliant, transforming his whole face. "I love you too." God, Dylan. I've been in love with you for months. I was just waiting for the right moment to tell you. This feels like the right moment. "Yeah," he agreed, kissing me. "It really does." Looking back now, I can trace the whole thing back to that morning in the hallway. The moment Kieran's hands fixed my collar and then stayed on my shoulders, grounding me, supporting me, changing everything. Such a small gesture, but it opened something between us, gave us both permission to feel what we'd been carefully not feeling for months. Sometimes the biggest changes in your life come from the smallest moments. A touch that lingers a second too long. A look that says more than words. The courage to let someone see you. Really see you. And the grace to see them back. I never thought much about physical touch until the morning Kieran fixed my collar. Now I think about it all the time. The way his hand feels in mine. The way he pulls me close in his sleep. The way his fingers trace my spine when we're lying in bed, talking about nothing and everything. The way he touches me like I matter, like I'm precious, like I'm loved. Because I am. We both are. And it all started with a messed up collar and hands that stayed on my shoulders just a little longer than they needed to.